sind Sie, das Essen, wir sind der Podcast.
What was the question, sir?
What episode of the anime
What
did
was
you
your favorite
enjoy
anime
the
episode?
most? Possible anime spoilers, blah.
Okay, that's a good.
Yeah,
that's a good
I like
topic.
it.
Yeah.
So, somebody go.
I don't know. Kind of the two obvious ones, episode 5 or episode 21.
Mm-hmm.
But
Those are the two most popular.
I actually really like the first episode. I really like that opening where they're basically surrounding their Titan in the forest, and the commander, is ordering them all to go out and swarm it, and it's just really exciting. You get to see their gear in action really up close and detail. I really like it.
Was that guy who led that squad ever confirmed to be Shardus? Because that was a theory at some point. That
I
think
some guy.
officially that's him, but the faces never really looked the same to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't look similar, really.
That was a pretty popular theory at the time.
I mean,
wasn't.
Okay, we are
Episode
recording
1
now.
wasn't.
Everybody, we're live.
Oh, hey!
Hi.
Hey, everybody.
Hey-oh.
Introductions.
All right.
I'm
Well-
Sarah, also known as Shift with the Wind on the Reddit page, and next to me, well, not really, but going on.
All right. I'm Scott. Scotty V23 on the subreddit. Yep. Going on.
Awesome. Nice. Great. Nicely done. All right.
Well, are we gonna go right into about ourselves, or are we gonna just say the names then go into it?
we're recording, Scott.
We're recording.
I know.
So let me go next. Okay, I am Stiller from the subreddit, Stiller3, and that's me. This is what my voice sounds like, and that's it
Nicely
for my
done,
introduction.
Nicely
Right?
done.
So pass the buck on to guy number 4.
Guy number 4. I'm Zach. I'm Darth Me Too on the subreddit. Some of you might know me. I'm not as well known as any of these three, though, I'm sure. Not sure how I got here, in fact.
You can just tell how professional we are. Just because
Forgive us, this is our first attempt at the podcast, so if we're a little rusty at this, it's to be expected.
Yeah.
But
Let me tell you, my podcast list, like a resume, is super long.
Oh, is it? Man,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's where my
brag,
rust is coming from. Just so rusty.
Yeah. All right, so this is a cast on Titan, and this is a community, basically a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This is spawned directly from Reddit, and Lurker, or
I'd
I'd
rather
rather
be
be
lurking.
lurking.
I'd rather be lurking.
I'd rather be lurking was his name.
Yep, he suggested this, so give him props for giving us the idea to
Coming
go
up.
along with this.
Yep.
And then the outro and intro is done by TehIshter, and his info will be linked in the description.
On the YouTube channel.
Yep, on the YouTube channel. And that is the intro. We got through it, guys. Congratulations.
Yay!
Woo!
All right. So I guess now
let's go back around in the circle and do the introduction again with more details. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess that
All
means I go first.
Let's go with same order.
So I'm Sarah. I'm from Austin, Texas, and I graduated last spring, and I've been working at UT since the fall, and it's a pretty good job. It's kind of an administrative job, and now I really can't stand the phone left ringing, and I have to answer it. That's pretty funny. And then what got me interested in Attack on Titan, I think I want to address that next, is I picked it up when the anime aired, which was also back in the spring of 2013, and I was hooked after the first episode. I was already just getting into anime because a friend was, showing me the goods. And then why I liked it, why I kept watching it, well, the captivating story, I think, that's for me. That with the, beautiful visuals. It's just such a gorgeous story. And it's just a sensational experience for me. I really like it. It's got that cliffhanger, really intense action. And I think that the manga is a great story. It's a great thing to make an anime for. I mean, I feel like it needs the anime. It needs everything to be brought to life like that in the animation. And the story needs everything else that the fandom has thrown at it, because it just raises so many questions. And it has so much potential. So that's why I write for it. That's why I really like everybody else doing stuff for it, why we're making this podcast for it, etc. That about wraps it up for me.
Is there anything else you want the people to know about you?
Not at this time. They can just find out. That's
Okay, I'm sure more will come
Background
up
check
over
on
time.
you.
I know. I'm
Internet
just
stalking.
I'm just saying.
I know. All right. So I guess I'll go next.
Yes.
So So I'm Scott. I'm a sophomore in college. I'm a psych major.
Oh
What
boy.
else? Yep. Yeah. What? You got some stuff to say about
No,
this?
no, no,
Huh?
no.
No.
That's fine.
All right. All right.
I'll let that be.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time finding a job. But Andy, I know, I've heard the criticisms, but that's getting off track. But I'm a big
Connie.
Attack on Titan fan. Surprise! Yeah, Connie, big Connie fan.
Oh boy.
You'll find out throughout this podcast, I'm sure, that everyone here is a Connie hater. So everyone has to give them hate for being a Connie hater. It's impossible to be, but they found a way. And what got me into Attack on Titan? So my one friend introduced me to it, the anime at first, and I gotta be honest, for the first couple episodes, I was very skeptical about it. I wasn't hooked by the first episode by any means. And it really got me at episode 5, where most people, that's the episode that they love, and it's like, whoa, like, did he really just die there? And
You're stealing my introduction right now. I hate you.
I'm sorry, man. I'm just, I picked strategically to go second for
I
that
should
reason.
have gone sooner.
But yeah, so that got me into it, and since episode 5, I was hooked basically, and then episode 21 and whatnot, all of those hype episodes, and yeah, and then I started reading the manga because I couldn't possibly wait until 2015 for that next season to start. So yeah, and the rest is history. From there, I just joined the Reddit and then got active in the community, and here I am now, and that pretty much wraps up mine.
So now I have to make up some fake bullshit because you stole most of the stuff I was. Okay, so I am Stiller 3 on the subreddit, and I am a senior in college. I'm a senior undergrad in IT, and I am in Illinois. Right, I'm in small town, middle of nowhere, Illinois, nondescript location in an underground bunker in the Annie Cave.
The Annie Cave, huh?
That's nice.
The Annie Cave, right?
That's where Annie is right now too in the manga. So.
Okay. So what got me into Attack on Titan is I used to / still still do play an MMO called DCUO, which stands for DC Universe Online, and I was in a league with a guy who was an avid anime watcher. And he referred Attack on Titan to me because he was like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever! You gotta watch this!" Blah 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 blah. And I have pretty strict anime standards for the stuff that I watch. So I was very skeptical going into Attack on Titan, but sort of what Scotty said, I got to episode 5 and I lost my mind. I don't know. It was like 2 a.m, and I was like, I'm still interested enough to keep watching this at 2 a.m, so you must still have something for me, right? So I get to episode 5, and I get to the end of it when Aaron dies. Anime spoilers right there. But yeah, it's fine. But I get to that, and I just lost my mind. I was like, this is amazing. I have to keep watching this. And I did. I kept watching it. And I got, when I watched episode 4, I watched Shardus pass by Annie, and I was like, I wonder who that girl is. She looks kind of interesting. I wonder what's up with her, right? We get to episode 8 in Trost, and there she is again doing things, and I'm like, man, all these people are dying. I hope she doesn't get super murdered, because that would suck, right? Super murdered is a term I'm going to use a lot.
Yeah.
But from there, I finished watching the anime, and then immediately after I finished watching the anime, I went to the subreddit. I got involved with the community, and they're awesome over there. They have all sorts of crazy things going on between they have actual new chapter translators. They have a lot of people who do fan art. They have a lot of people who do theory crafting. They have people who do fan fiction. All sorts of, it's the haven, basically. It's wherever all the good stuff happens.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know, I somehow convinced enough people that I deserved my own flare by the end of last year. Because there is a best Legionnaire of 2013 next to my name, and I still don't know how that happened. Right? But that's a thing, and that happened. So I'm okay with that. And now here I am with this community-based, community-created podcast where we're going to try and rock their socks off and hope that they enjoy this, because that's what we're here for.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's basically it. I mean, more will come out over time, but that's as far as this introduction I think needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, crap. Now I have to top that, don't I?
You should have gone first, right?
Yeah, I should have.
And I should have gone before Scott. Scott should have gone last.
Nope. Sorry.
Yours was the most long.
Sorry.
So, I've been a Redditor for, let's see, almost a year and a half now, I think. Let's just check. No, internet's too slow. Let's not check.
Big time.
And I just heard about this thing, Attack on Titan, a few times. I think there was a couple mentions of the Pokemon subreddit. Someone made like a crossover, and then the new school year started. Forgot.
It's fine. Go. It's fine. Just do what
I'm a
you want to do.
sophomore in high school. I'm 15 and I'm from Seattle, Washington. Yeah, hi.
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 I'm prepared. And so school year starts, and I hear about this anime club. So I'm like, oh, okay, I've watched Death Note. I think I can. I think I can handle this club thing.
Yeah.
I go to the club, and I can't handle this club thing. All these people are way more devoted than I am, that's for sure.
This club can't even handle me right now.
Yeah. But on the bright side, it's not like we actually talk about anything. We sit there, we watch the first 3 episodes of an anime, we say bye, come back a week later, watch 3 episodes of a new anime. So eventually we get to Attack on Titan, and the school district had just implemented a ridiculous new filter system, to make sure that the students aren't going to porn on school hours or, reading fan fictions or anything like that. Nothing that can corrupt the minds of our youth.
Yeah.
Yes, Sarah. No fan fictions.
Oh.
You and your corruptible material.
Yeah.
One of the things they blocked was our usual streaming site, and that just so happened to be the week that we were going to watch Attack on Titan.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we're scrambling to find a working site, and the site we get is called TrollDub. You can probably guess what happened.
I'm sure that story has a great ending.
Yeah, the subtitles were all screwed up beyond recognition. The Wallace were preaching how Hatsune Miku is God. Aaron was not screaming about venturing outside the wall. He was screaming about which animes are the best and how everyone else are complete and utter losers. I don't quite remember, but it was ridiculous.
I would have watched that.
And
I'd watch that.
somehow
I'd watch that now. I wouldn't watch that.
I'll see if I can find that, guys. Find that subtitle for you later. Somehow that was enough to get me interested, because the next 2 episodes, because we watched 3, the next 2 episodes actually had real subtitles, aside from, for some reason, calling the Titans Eotans. Eoten. I don't know. So I went home and I watched the actual subtitle, and the rest is history, I guess. I found the Attack on Titan subreddit, said this thing is abandoned, let's try the other name, Shingeki no Kyojin. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
15,000 whatever.
At the time. Yeah, that's crazy.
Who's this Stiller guy with an Annie Squidward?
I love the Annie Squidward, by the way, Stiller. That's awesome.
I do too. I rocking that thing proudly.
Every time I see it, I automatically think it's you, and then oh wait, no, it's like the one of the 2 other people with that flair. You're not Stiller.
Sometimes it's not me.
Yeah. All right, that looks like it's all of the introductions. Got past that. All right, so
kicking and screaming.
I think we should clarify that it is the Shingeki no Kyojin subreddit and not the Attack on Titan subreddit, so people don't get confused.
Not that we hate those guys, but just
we don't hate them. It's just this is where we're from. Yeah. This is our home. All right, so now what we're gonna do is the recap. But we should have said this in the beginning before we even did the intros, because we kind of had some
fine. Stop second guessing yourself. Let's go.
What?
Yeah, no, we are going to venture into manga spoiler territory here, guys. We will give a warning when we pass episode 25 for you guys to close the tab, but go ahead. This is by no means an anime-friendly subreddit or podcast. We love the anime, guys.
Spoiler friendly, I think you mean.
Anime friendly. We hate the anime.
No, this is in no way an anime friendly podcast. I mean, we could maybe do an anime episode, but there's just not much we can do with that. We can't theory craft given the little material we have there.
There is just
So
too much that we want to talk about in the manga, considering just how awesome
There's
it is.
too many pieces of evidence.
read the damn manga, guys.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's what it
Alright.
boils down to.
All right, so are we going to take turns or just spit it out as we can?
I guess
Just
yeah,
start
start
with
it off.
just start with the first bit.
So to you, 2,000 years in the future, we start with the people trapped in the walls. You know, Maria, Rose, Sina, all because Titans showed up, these human-eating monsters, and now they're trapped in the walls and have to survive, basically. Except then, you know, we have the three main characters, Eren, his foster sister Mikasa, and his friend Armin, and they're just talking one day, thinking, oh no, someone might actually break through these walls, even though they haven't done it in, like, is it 100 or 200 years? I think it's 100
100.
years.
100 years.
Yeah, 100 years.
Mhm.
And what do you know? Bam, this colossal titan just zaps into sight right outside Walmaria.
What a jerk.
Yeah. And he kicks in the wall, he comes in, wrecks everything up, and the Titans come in. It's a big bad day, and Eren loses his mother. And then moving on, someone else take up the story from here.
It was a bad day,
Yeah, it's a very bad day.
Great recap, Stiller.
right? So from that point, we move forward to these scenes of the training. Like we see, and this is a little bit different between the manga, but in the anime, they go next into Eren and Mikasa and them arguing about what to do, like as kids before they go into the military training. They go into I don't know if it ever actually got a name, but it's like the training corps, basically.
Mhm.
I believe it's the recruit corps.
Something
Okay.
to
Yep.
that effect. But they go into that, and we get introduced to all these other characters like Shardus and Sasha and Krista and Ymir. We don't go into any real detail about these characters yet, but we get introduced to them. We get introduced to Eren's motivations. We get introduced to other characters like Jean and Connie and some of these other guys.
Well, hoorah!
Right, Connie, hoorah. Who said no one ever.
She said everyone.
And
Okay,
everyone.
focus everybody.
Other-
And so they go through their training, right? Things happen in training. We go forward to the next episode where they graduate, and they're up on top of the wall as part of their new like it's their post-graduation thing. They're up on the wall doing whatever they're doing on top of the wall. They're doing their thing where Sasha stole meat from the officers, you know, to get their laugh. Haha, we stole meat from the officers. Let's all, you know, be assholes about it. and and then the colossal titan just shows up out of nowhere and is like, fuck you guys,
Heard
right?
you guys were talking shit.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna ruin your day, right? You're all hopeful and stuff. I'm about
Crash
to
this
crush
party.
your dreams, right?
Oh, dear.
Exactly.
So he kicks in the different part of the wall, and a lot of people die. The Titans get in again, and this is the start of the Battle of Trost. A lot of people died.
Half of the anime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically,
pretty much.
I remember when I was first watching, I was just like, Jesus, when is this damn battle gonna end? Come on, guys.
I was actually really hyped during that battle because I actually really liked the sort of survival horror direction that arc took. The whole Battle of Trost, because it was so centered around this one section of the world, and it was so in depth to these characters and their struggles trying to get through Trost, and like they have to make tactical decisions on where they're going to go and what they're going to do. I love Trost. Trost, like my favorite episode is still 5, but there was a lot to love about Trost.
This is where shit hits the fan because, all right, Eren tries to kill the colossal titan, fails, he disappears. Then all of them regroup, and then they're sent off to ward off all the titans and try to kill them all, which is really a vain effort. Like it's, you know, like a horrible effort, but they have to do it anyway. So all of them go, and they're all hyped up, and then the music's hype, and then everyone starts to die. Slowly but surely, all of Eren's friends, everyone's friends, starts to get eaten in front of them. It's a really bad situation. And then Armin is about to get eaten, but then Eren jumps in, saves him, and then boom, he gets eaten. His arm is lobbed off. He gets his leg bitten off, and now everyone thinks, well, that's it. You know, main character just died, and that's usually where everybody just was like, "What? What is this?"
That was so hype, you guys.
Oh,
Oh, that was so hype.
lose your
It
shit
was.
right there. Yeah.
And then we see all of them regrouped again. They regroup in that one tower. And then they have to get gas, and they have to refuel their tanks and whatnot. and we
something.
what? Well, I'm gonna backtrack, but
You can let him
alright.
backtrack if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, we have to go through a whole lot here, so I can't go into very specific details. So they get the gas or whatnot, and they're all good and set. But before all of that, and now I just remembered the part that I forgot was there's this Titan who is fighting other Titans and saves Mikasa.
That's pretty important.
Yeah, and look what I'm covering. All right. If you
Normally I
guys
wouldn't
told me to
interrupt,
be on
but
track.
you kind of forgot a little detail there.
Right.
Just a
Yeah,
little
it's
Titan.
not that
The
important.
rogue
You know,
Titan shows up.
it's just a rogue Titan. He has no importance, right? So then,
Of course
so then,
not.
right, no importance at all. You know, I actually called it, and my friend didn't want to tell me. I was like, "That's definitely Aaron," and my friend was like, "Nope, no, it's not. He's dead." I'm like, "All right." So, right, so there's this rogue Titan who no one knows who it is, but they want to use that Titan to their advantage because the only way they're gonna get out of this alive is if they use that Titan to get, make a way to the other wall. So they use this Titan, and he's about to get eaten, and they all say, hey, should we protect this Titan or should we just leave him? And they decide to protect the Titan, and lo and behold, it's Aaron inside the Titan. So they get him, they go to safety, and everyone is just and outraged. They don't know what to do with him. Everyone saw him transform. The military is about to execute him.
Shit was
And
popping off, you guys. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
shit.
Everybody
It was-
lost it.
it was pretty hype.
But the
And
battle's not over yet. So, so everyone's panicking about Aaron for a bit, but this awesome guy, General Pixis, is he a general?
Hoorah.
Pixisu!
Commander.
Comes in
Commander.
and interferes, calms everyone down, and agrees with Armin, Mikasa, and Aaron that they should use Aaron to basically regain Trost, because it's full of Titans. They managed to get all the people evacuated, yeah, but they need to get all the Titans out now. So there's this giant boulder next to the gate that the Colossal Titan kicked in. So they're like, Aaron, turn and use your Titan power, pick up the boulder, and basically block the gate with it. Can you do that? He's like, I don't know, but I'll try. So they get all that
It's a theme
done,
in this
and
series.
it's crazy, and all these people are protecting Aaron from the Titans and sacrificing each other, and it's really, really epic, and it's really hype. And then Aaron has a bit of trouble at first, but he finally gets that big freaking boulder on his back, blocks the gate. Everyone's all like, yes! And at this point,
He's only trying to swat a fly.
the Survey Corps gets back, and we get introduced to Levi and his squad, and they come in, and basically they decide that they're going to have some say on this new Titan that showed up and started helping humanity. So, someone want to pick it up from there?
Someone take away the Levi story from her before she loses her mind.
Yes, please. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to gush for like 5 minutes and waste everybody's time.
So we pick up from there. We go into the courtroom scene where they're trying to decide what to do with Aaron. And we get introduced to, although we don't know it at the time, we get introduced to Nile. We get Nile Doc, the commander of the military police. And we get introduced to, what's his name? Darius Zackley, I think?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that guy. Who is the commander over all 3 different military branches, who gets the say between these 2 different
Factions.
propositions for what to do with Aaron. And he gets the final say on that. And they go back and forth, right, between Erwin and Nile and Levi. And Aaron gives this little speech here in the middle of it where he's arguing for himself, right? And Levi comes over the rail, and he proceeds to kick the shit out of Aaron.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much, that's what happens. To show to the public, to show to all the politicians and the merchants and everybody who's in the room, and to show to Zackley that he can take care of this guy if anything weird happens. It's like he's kind of unknown right now, but I can handle this guy, right? Let's all calm down a little bit, right? I can take care of this guy.
I might be shorter than him, but you can
So
handle
they make the deal. They make the deal where they say, well, let us take him out on an expedition, and we'll get some sort of awesome result for you guys that will prove that he can be used as an asset for humanity instead of not being worth it and just dissecting him because shits and giggles, right?
Yeah.
Precisely.
That's all the military police is about.
Gotta find the special appendix that only shifters have, and it's in their intestine, but you can't find it unless you dissect them.
So from there, we go to the inauguration of all the other members of the 104th and their decision-making process for what branch they're going to go into. And we get a lot of good insight to some of the mindsets different characters are having on which squad they're going to pick. We get some different lines from people like Connie and Annie and some of these guys about what they're going to do and such. And then they go to this little, they have the Marco campfire, right?
Yeah.
It's basically the Marco campfire.
Speckled Jesus.
Right, where after they've cleaned up all the bodies from the Trost incident, burning all these bodies, and they're standing around all these bodies saying basically, man, this sucks, right? Man, is this not great? And then they start talking about, have you guys made your decisions yet? And they go through that whole process where they're saying things, and John makes his big speech about how he's going to join the Survey Corps.
I love
and then
it.
we go. It was good. And then we go forward to the actual actual inauguration or orientation, whatever you want to call it, where Erwin comes out and he gives his speech to all the prospective trainees and say, a lot of you guys are probably going to die.
The most unconvincing speech.
Probably all of you are going to die, right? But you should still come hang out with us anyway, because we're cool guys.
We got cookies.
We ride
Be a lot of
horses.
fun.
We ride horses. We kill titans. We're the cool guys, right?
Totally.
You don't want to go hang out with those garrison guys and clean shit off of the walls all day. You don't want to go hang out with the military police and be lazy. Who wants to be lazy, right? Who wants to not be in danger? Screw that. Come hang out with us, right? So he gives his speech and then he goes away. And all the people who stay are people who want to join the Survey Corps, and everybody who leaves wants to join another branch, whether it be the garrison or the military police. So we see who stays and who goes between our 104th cast that we know. And if I'm not mistaken, the only one who actually left from the main cast was Annie.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's actually really important. Annie left.
Annie left and everyone else stayed.
What happens next is they go on the expedition. Well, we get a bit of insight from Hanji and her Titan capturing first. Hanji Zoe, the girl on Levi's team, who was really into Titans, man. She really wants to know what they're all about, and she's not angry at them, and she's really weird and talks all the time. She's doing experiments.
Don't diss Hanji.
Hanji, yes.
She's not really dissing Hanji. It's fine. That's fine.
And so she's doing experiments on these two Titans that they caused from the Battle of Trost, and mysteriously they're both killed the next morning. So that's really mysterious.
Yeah, it's so
Slowly
strange. Weird things are happening, guys.
Yeah, we get this idea that Erwin and his team members, his upper guys, his right-hand command guys, Mike and Levi, they're all up to something. They have an idea that the enemy isn't necessarily outside the walls. So, with that in mind, everybody gets ready to go on an expedition to Wall Maria, and taking Aaron with them, and it's this big organized deal, and nobody really knows where Aaron was positioned. So we start the female Titan arc.
Bum, bum, bum.
Da!
I'm going to take it so Stiller does not have the opportunity.
Yes.
I'll get my chance later. I know what I'm waiting for.
So we're all having a fun ranch day, just picnicking out, playing with horses, slice some Titans, heading to Wall Maria, and suddenly, bam, there goes the right half of the army. Because this giant naked girl came and brought Titans. Who could it possibly be?
She has blonde hair and really, really blue eyes, I wonder.
And a weird nose shape.
Who could it be? I don't know. Who is it, you guys? I don't know. Who is it? I don't know.
We're gonna find
somebody.
out.
This is
All
true.
in
This is
good
killing
time,
me.
Stiller.
Oh, it's so suspenseful, you guys.
This is suspense, not a Titan. And so Armin gets caught by the Titan, the female Titan. She
Wait,
decides for some reason, hey, you're kind of cute. I'll let you live.
Precisely.
That's okay. That's fine. Keep going.
You got something to say, Stiller?
No, we'll save it. We'll save it for later. Keep going. Keep going.
So Armin has no horse, and he's going to be dead soon if another Titan finds him. But out of nowhere come Reiner and Jean, and they pick him up and they say, okay, bad girl, we have to take care of her. We can't let her get Eren, who's on the right flank, right, guys?
Oh, he's not on the
No.
right
She's
flank.
she's in the back.
He's in the back.
He's in the right, or the back left. No, he's in the
No.
front.
He's in the center.
No.
Where do you think he could be, Armin?
Oh, but most likely
Probably in
place.
the center.
He's probably chilling out in Cena having some coffee.
And then the female
Yeah.
Titan
Probably.
comes up and wrecks the shit up again, and oh my
Well,
gosh!
no, not quite. They try to attack the female Titan,
Yeah.
and Reiner gets caught, and it looks like he gets killed, and I still haven't figured out how that works, because you see the blood from his skull exploding go everywhere, and then next thing you know, he's cutting himself out, completely unharmed. I guess the female Titan has an explosive thumb that we didn't know about. And they're all trying to regroup and warn Levi and Erwin, guys, there is this unstoppable Titan who is coming right at you, and suddenly she turns around and starts heading right at them.
Yep.
In the center, right where Armin just said that they were. So Erwin finds out about this, and he decides, okay, let's see what she's got. And instead of trying to maneuver, turn around, head back, because half his guys are already dead, no. He says, okay, there's this forest of all these big-ass trees. This is a direct quote from Levi.
Super true. Super accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And they go inside the forest, and for some reason, Erwin and Levi and crew keep on going straight down the center path that's practically paved, even though it's abandoned, and everyone else just stays on the outskirts with the orders, keep the Titans out. Don't let them in. They get into the center of the forest, and what do you know? The female Titan is literally right on top of Eren, and he can't decide, should I Titan out, or should I let the guys take care of it and die?
Man, did they make a big deal out of that scene? That scene
Oh,
dragged
man.
on
That was
forever.
ridiculous. And then
Decides to trust his friends.
he trusts his friends, and they go buy a pocket, and why is Erwin and Hanji and everyone standing there with mysterious barrels? Hanji and Erwin shout, fire, and ta-da! Female Titan captured! Woohoo!
Or is
Let's go
she?
home!
Or is she? Dun dun dun.
Levi says, hey, I'm gonna cut your arms out.
Oh, that was so wicked.
Wrong thing to say.
Scotty, you should take over. These guys are getting too crazy.
All right. So once that's said, the female Titan doesn't take too kindly to that. So she shouts, and no one knows why, but they find out soon that all of the Titans start to enter the forest. And why are they entering the forest? Well, because they're gonna eat Annie. Or spoiler, they're gonna eat somebody. They're gonna eat somebody.
It's my fault for telling you to go.
I was being very careful, Stiller.
Everywhere.
Did we just fuck up the whole thing?
No. So everybody knows. This is like, I don't know who this recap's for anyway, but
Okay,
if you're watching this, all right. So the female Titan is eaten, and then a mysterious person, apparently we don't know yet, but escapes, and then everyone is told to just keep going. Erwin tells Levi, "You should refill your gas." And that's explained later. He says, why do you want to refill my gas? And he's saying, because what we learned from Eren, it was foolish for us to think that the Titan capabilities were as far as Eren's extent could go. Because Eren is a novice when it comes to shifting. So just to think that only shifters can do what Eren can do was foolish. This Titan is obviously more experienced. And then we hear that, or we see that this female who's mysterious, who has a flare, kills somebody. Right, and we don't know who this is. We thought that this was one of like the other people, like Levi or someone, but nope, it's an unknown person. And then we find out this person was the female Titan because she or he, I'm gonna say she, gets out of the bag right now.
The female Titan, Scotty.
You never know.
We fucked this up a long time ago.
That could have right. Okay, so she shifts. Levi's squad tries to defend Eren. They say, Eren, go. So Eren decides to trust them. He goes. They get annihilated. Yeah.
Episode 21.
And then decides, you know what? I got to take action now. I made the wrong call, obviously, because everyone's dead because of me. So he transforms, fights her, loses, gets captured, and now Levi and Mikasa are on the trail to try to get Eren back. So they eventually catch up to the female Titan. They take her out, basically, and then she basically allows them to take Eren because she wants to preserve herself, essentially. So then they take Eren, and then they leave.
But Levi broke his leg.
Right, Levi
yeah.
broke his leg. That's a very important point.
Sprained his ankle.
Because he's so pro.
Right, which apparently doesn't play any role, essentially, because now it's semi-fine. But anyway, does someone want to pick up from here?
Yeah, why don't we pick up speed a little bit, Matt?
All right.
So after they take Eren back, we go to the next scene where they're coming back from the expedition. Well, after Patreon, the Levi squad dies, right? We see the scene of them coming back, and they have to roll Patra's body and all these other guys off of the back of the car to get away from the Titans who are chasing them back to the inside of the safety. And after they get back, they start talking about, hey, some weird stuff's going on. Armin's starting to connect the dots. He's starting to figure out who it is. We go into the episode that's Annie-centric, where she wakes up in the morning, she goes and she introduces everyone to Hitch, and she gets her orders for the day, and she goes and talks to Marlo, and she does that whole thing. The end of the episode goes into Armin, getting Annie to come with him to try and, what was it even, to try and protect Eren or some nonsense like that.
To get Eren out of the wall so they'd have enough time to prove that he was innocent.
Some crap. He came up with some story to try and get her to do a thing. And they lead her to this tunnel, and they say, come down here. And she's like, no, I don't want to. I think that tunnel sucks, right? So, long story short, they figure out that Annie's a female Titan, and everybody's freaking out. And all these people they had waiting in ambush attack Annie. Annie transforms. Oops. Mikasa pulls Armin and Eren back down into the tunnels because they see that Annie's got a ring on her finger that cuts herself, and she turns into the female Titan. The next episode goes into explaining how they went through the whole process of discovering that Annie was the female Titan, and then in episode 25, Annie and Eren have their big showdown. They fight each other, and a lot of people die. A lot of churchgoers, a lot of people on the streets, people not really hurting anybody. So they fight for a while, and then they get to the wall where Annie's trying to climb to get away from all this madness, and she gets cut down by Mikasa, who does a little cut across both of her hands to take off her fingers, and she falls off the wall. And then she gets grabbed by the Hulk Eren, who proceeds to rip her out of her neck. And then she crystallizes. She becomes a crystal, and she gets taken away by Hanji. She gets taken away underground. And that's the end of the anime, right? And after the credits...
You missed the credits.
I literally just said credits, right? I'm going there. Let's I know I'm trying to go faster here, but let's calm down a little bit.
Continue, Stiller.
After the credits, we see a piece of the wall break away that shows a Titan face inside the wall. That's where the anime ends.
Dun dun dun.
And then things get really weird.
This is the manga spoiler disclaimer. If you have not read the manga, read the damn manga and come back, etc., etc.
From here on out, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because the podcast from here on out will be manga spoilers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye.
So I mean, I think we should continue to pick up speed and just kind of briefly cover some of the more important topics.
First of all,
right?
I think the Wallist issue comes up. They figure out that the Wallist actually know about the Titans in the walls, so they need to corner them about that. And then
by throwing them off the wall.
Yeah. Well, they cover the hole in the wall. They don't want anybody to see that Titan face staring out at them. And then around that time, the group splits up. We see them go off and have their own adventures, and people start freaking out because they think there's been another breach in Wall Rose because Titans are showing up again. I'm a little vague. I haven't read this part of the story in a while.
It's important to note at this point that this series of events, the Castle Utgard, is happening at relatively the same time as episode 25 happens. It's right around the same time.
The rest of the 104th Corps had been detained for questioning because they thought there might be more shifters among this group.
There might be an accomplice to Annie in this group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And suddenly Zacharias smells 9 Titans approaching from the south. I reread these chapters this morning, so I know this quite well. And at the same time, Sasha hears footsteps, and everyone's like, Sasha, you're crazy. And then, guess what? She's not crazy. Titans everywhere.
Oh, crap.
Ah, crap. So, in comes the next massive Titan we need to know about. The Beast Titan.
Monkey Trouble, as he's been nicknamed on the
Monkey
Reddit.
Trouble. Damn you,
Yeah.
4chan.
He said that, not me. Direct all hatred for that comment towards him.
Sorry, 4chan.
So Castle Utgard happened.
Yeah. Zacharias dies. Monkey Trouble takes the 3D maneuver gear. We don't know what he's doing. He disappears.
You know that he can talk. That's important.
We know that he can talk. Multiple languages.
So after we're introduced to Monkey Trouble, the next real big event that happens after Castle Utgard, without going into much detail about what happened at Castle Utgard, the next big event that happened was the reveal of the Armor Titan and the Colossal Titan.
Also, Ymir's a shifter.
I mean,
You kind of forgot that part.
well, we're picking up speed a little bit here. We're kind of dragging.
The
a
big reveal
little
at
bit,
Castle Utgard was Ymir's shift and saving everybody, essentially. But then she's exhausted, and everybody regroups. Everybody gets back together on the wall, where Bertolt and Reiner show their true colors, essentially.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron, we're the Colossal Armor Titan. Come with us.
The greatest plot twist reveal I've seen in a long time.
Casual
Oh, yeah.
It didn't
conversation.
take up a big part of the page. It was just like a little side.
It's a little
speech
small panel.
I know.
that just.
A little snippet of information, like, oh, that's interesting, you know?
Yeah, Hanji is off in the main page talking about, I think there might be a digging titan. And then in the background, we're the Colossal and Armored Titan.
Yeah.
Shh, keep it
Yeah.
a secret.
So Aaron doesn't like the idea of going back to their village with them because hey, you guys are jerks.
You killed my mom.
I don't like you guys. Why would I go with you?
And Mikasa comes in and nearly slices Bertolt's head off. Everybody transforms, essentially.
Everyone who can
transform
transform at that point transformed. We got the Colossal Titan, we got the Armor Titan, we got Aaron.
Aaron got half the Colossal Titan. He doesn't have legs for some reason.
Aaron and the Armor Titan fight for a while, and a lot of cool things happen there. And there's a little flashback that happens there too. That's really cool. But they fight for a while, and then just when it looks like Aaron's getting the upper hand, Bertolt and his Colossal Titan form do the 60-meter, 60-meter press drop. Yeah.
I loved it.
Some super
Body
specific wrestling move, right?
He jumps off the wall.
And there's a big steam cloud. And in the steam cloud, Reiner and Bertolt, they transform back into... Or they don't transform back. They just take Aaron out of his Rogue Titan form, and they run off with him.
They take Ymir, too.
Yeah.
Right. And they take Ymir with them, too.
Okay.
And they run off into the forest.
And then they end up in the forest and have an interesting conversation and talk about this thing called coordinate.
The most interesting of all the conversations.
Yeah, it's like...
Arguably, yeah.
You can't even understand half of it, because Aaron can't understand half of it.
It took people months to even form all the different theories we have based around that conversation.
Oh, but no.
Theories are still coming up.
Erwin is after them. He's got the squad together again. He's going to chase them down. This is when things start to get really intense, because they're chasing Bertolt and Reiner and Aaron and Ymir. They're all chasing them out. And meanwhile, Ymir wants to get Krista now. She's all like, hey, if you promise to protect me and Krista, I'll team up with you. I think that's what the vibe. She was hard to read at this point onward, because
she's still hard to read.
She's always
what's going on with Ymir?
Ymir essentially blackmailed Bertolt and Reiner, so with my little form, I can take out both of you in this forest, and I can slow you guys down, so you gotta help me and Krista, or else, I'll essentially slow you guys down to the point where you'll be of no use, essentially.
Sorry, but at this point, do we actually know that, who Krista really is? I thought we knew who she really was.
Yeah, she shouted after Ymir, my name is Historia.
Yes. Oh, Krista's...
What a name.
Krista's mysterious alter identity. She's from some Wallace family.
Rice family.
The Rice family. Okay, so that's interesting, too. And then Erwin and the team finally catch up with I keep wanting to call him Burner.
Birdie.
Burner.
Just say Birdie.
Big Bert.
He catches up with them, and this huge battle breaks out, essentially, where they're trying to get Eren away from the Titans. And he's all tied up and helpless and not doing anything. Poor Eren.
I think he might have actually been unconscious.
It's like, yeah, he was unconscious for one point. He woke up, I think, just as everyone caught up and started springing on Reiner in a Titan form. And, he has to, cover Bertolt and Eren with his hands. And it's all getting confusing. This was hard to follow. This is hard to explain in detail. So let's just try to breeze over it.
Big arguments. Ymir goes with Reiner and Bertolt. Erwin loses his arm. And guess who appears? The smiling
Titan appears again. And kills Hannes.
The guy that...
But I don't know if your Hannes is here to save the day or not.
Why not?
Half of Hannes is here to save the day.
Hannes the savior.
The biggest thing is when Eren, he gets up.
Decides to punch the Titan.
Yes. And while he's a human.
Yeah.
Punches that hand so hard.
And then all the Titans attack
Titan
the smiling
respect.
Titan, and you realize that, oh my gosh, Eren actually controlled the Titans. And then he sticks them on Reiner.
How did he do that?
Oh
You
no!
don't know.
He's the
Is Eren
coordinate.
special?
He's the
Oh, man.
Reiner's
He could
like,
be
you're
the
the last
coordinate.
person who needs to be the coordinate. Oh my gosh. Long story short, they actually finally rescue Eren. Ymir decides not to go with them, and she runs off with Reiner and Bertolt. And the team all goes back, having had heavy losses. But they finally got Eren back. Yay.
With his newfound powers.
Yes.
So we wind down a little bit. We have the little recovery couple chapters where we try and recap everything. We try and absorb all the information that we gained over the mid to late 40s and the early 50s. And we have the scene of Erwin sitting in bed with Levi and Hanji and Connie in the room. And they discuss how they've made this theory that says that Titans are actually humans. Right? There are humans that have been transformed into Titans. If that's their theory, they say Titans are former humans. Right?
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then people think that there was not actually a breach of Wall Rose, but it was actually Connie's village that got transformed, presumably by Monkey Trouble, into Titans. And then...
I think Ymir just outright stated that Monkey Trouble did it.
Right. Alright, so that...
From there, the new Levi squad is formed, right? The new Levi squad gets together, and they start testing, they start training Eren in his Titan form. They get him to do certain different things, to learn different things about what he can and can't do, what his limits are, so on and so forth.
They try to get him hard.
And he can't. And it's a shame. But
Yeah.
then,
See, their plan...
then they embark on their new plan.
Yeah, their plan is to use Eren to try and basically block up Wall Maria with his special hardened skin that they theorize he can make.
Which is brilliant, because then you're locking the thousands of Titans within Wall Maria with nowhere to go.
Well, easier to clean up.
At the same time that they're going through this plan, they also have to watch themselves from being targeted on the inside by the politicians and the military police and all these sorts of officials who don't like what they're doing.
Yeah, and they have to.
Which is where we get to the most recent chapters, where they're going after these. I forget the name of the actual corporation, but it was some sort of a merchants.
Reeves.
The Reeves Corporation.
Reeves, it's Japanese.
Where they disguise Jean and Armin as Eren and Krista, or Historia, whatever you want to call her. And they
turns a man gay.
Yeah, they go into that plan. And then in the most recent chapter, Mikasa and Mikasa, and the new Levi squad ambush them, rescue Armin and John, and then strike a deal with the main Reeves guy before they end the chapter there.
And then...
They've kidnapped some military police, and we get a shot at Dentist Levi.
Dentist Levi, right? So with that, we're all caught up.
Yeah.
That's
one part though that I want to go back to that we kind of skipped was that the plan that they essentially had was to try and see if Eren could control or his hardened ability, and then tell other Titans to do that. So that was the other plan for clogging up the holes. but apparently that's put on the side burner for what's going on, the revolution and whatnot.
The revolution. We got introduced to the
Yes.
king too. We met the king finally.
Yeah,
We've
we
seen
met
the king.
him.
And he had alcohol in a strange language that no one can read except Ymir.
We have one shot of the king. He looks incredibly depressed.
Yeah.
I'd say he probably looks bored.
Yeah, ruling people isn't as fun as it's all cracked up to be.
Right? Hey, did you guys play Fable 3?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I like that game.
Ah,
Yep.
see, that's a good reference.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I played that. But yeah, so that is the recap, which was sloppy, but it was good and efficient. But most people who are watching this, you probably already knew all of that, so this is no new information to anybody. All right.
But we need to lay that out all on the table, make sure everybody's on the same wavelength so that we're not questioning, oh, didn't this happen there or didn't that happen there? Now we can say, oh, go listen to the recap.
We all know what happened.
Well, some of it might have happened because we didn't cover too much.
But still, we have the general idea of all these
Yeah.
things out on the table now.
All right.
It'll go a lot more smoothly when we can just recap one chapter each month, which will,
Which is
A
the
lot.
plan from here on out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
the way it's going to work from here is once a month, usually on the 6th to the 9th, somewhere in there, the new chapter will release, and our friends at Reddit and some other websites, they'll be scrambling, and they'll translate the chapter. It'll get the message across. It won't be the best translation right away. And then we will record the podcast, recapping the chapter, going about what we know there, and talking about some new theories that have already started to crop up. Maybe shoot some down because we're mean like that.
for sure.
I don't know.
Whatever topics might come up that is
Yeah.
relevant to the new chapters. Right?
So basically, this is just going to be a monthly podcast where Titan news.
If there are any special one-off podcasts, you will see us talking about it on the Reddit beforehand so that you know
Yeah.
that that's a thing.
Yeah.
Unless we've already planned it out before the podcast, then we'll probably tell you during the podcast.
We have plenty of
Surprises
ideas.
Surprises can be fun.
And there's that whole thing about guests on the podcast too. We're still looking into that. That's a thing, but
That is a
Don't
thing.
worry, we
But
got a
the-
list.
like we don't have details on that right now. But that's a thing that's happening.
And we always want your questions. We actually have several questions that we could, in the time remaining, answer right now. That
Yesterday,
Yeah.
yes, last night, I posted a thread asking people for questions for tonight's podcast, and we have quite a few to go through.
42 comments.
Yes.
Oh yeah, so let's touch on a couple of them.
So now we're going to go through some of these questions and talk about what's eating you guys up, what information you're dying to find out about, and we're going to argue with each other a lot.
Here's a question for you, Stiller. Why has Annie got to be such a bitch?
Why
all the
would you
time?
start with that question? Let's
It's a-
start with another question, okay?
Where in the world is Grisha Yeager?
that's a
Yeah,
good
that's
one.
sort
That's
of
a
the-
really
That's
common
in
one.
his son's stomach?
Maybe.
Yes.
That is a pretty popular theory. Although, I don't know if I full-heartedly agree with that theory. And the reason is, the first time when he transformed, when he tried to transform, and he didn't recognize Mikasa, and yet he was still he wanted to transform, he tried to. That was the first time he did that. He still didn't try to eat her. He was still just trying to grab her and swatted her. So I don't think he wasn't trying to eat her though, and that goes back to when I guess the theory is that he was with Grisha and then he tried to transform, and then when he did, he lost control and then ate his father. But if that was the case, then he would probably try to eat Mikasa the first time he transformed instead of trying to kill her. So that kind of, to me, I don't know, it kind of it conflicted with me in that sense.
I think the way that the theory goes is that there was an off-screen transformation we saw back when he was injected with the serum,
Mhm.
and that the first time that a shifter transforms, they are a mindless titan, and until they eat someone, they will be stuck in that form. But after that, they're not a mindless titan anymore, and they can focus on kicking down a wall or kidnapping someone or
Except-
something like that.
Except that doesn't make sense since we see Titans eat people all the time and they don't exactly wake up because of it.
The main
Most people
supporting
aren't
evidence, the main supporting evidence for this theory relies on Ymir's line of dialogue, where they talk about how Ymir is basically was a mindless titan supposedly for 60 years, before she ate Berwick or Marcel or whatever your favorite translation name is, which supposedly turned her back into a human, back into a shifter. Right. So the theory here is that Eren was transformed into a Titan, right, through the injection, where he was supposedly also given the coordinate by this injection, and
that's a whole nother can of worms.
And he turned into Eren again, the shifter Eren, by eating his father, is the theory.
Well, that says a lot about who the father is. It's just like, what? Does that mean the father was a shifter too? It's like, what?
It might. That's a theory too, that Grisha is monkey trouble.
There's just not enough going. There's too many questions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say that Grisha is pretty much, I don't think he's Monkey Trouble at all, because Monkey Trouble was talking about how he didn't really realize the 3D maneuver gear. And he was like, oh, so this is what humans had invented when he was talking to Mike.
Yeah.
He didn't even know what language they speak.
Right. So I don't think there's no reason for Grisha to ham it up for Mike if he's going to just kill him and throw him to the Titans anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was genuine, what Monkey Trouble said, which would really put the fact that Grisha's him out completely.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good contrary theory, and the problem with this overall theory about Grisha and about Eren and about the serum and about all these different things about how shifting, like the process of the origin works and all this, the problem is that we do not have the information we need.
We just don't have enough.
We don't, yeah.
We don't know the things that we need to know to be able to properly feel like we can confirm, or we have enough evidence to say that this implication is strong. We don't have that, so we can't really confirm or deny this.
Yeah.
Like
one more piece of evidence.
To Scotty's point, I mean, he's got a really good point against why Grisha is maybe the monkey trouble. But I mean, just because he's got that doesn't mean he's right or wrong. Like, he could be right or he could be wrong, but we don't have enough evidence either way to say whether he's right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to answer that question just because we don't know. There's not enough material out for us to.
Well, that's what a theory is. There's no definite answer.
Yeah, but a theory can have a lot of support behind it, and I feel like we don't have a lot of support for some of the bigger questions, especially the biggest one. What's in the basement? I'm like, come on, guys, can you wait?
Sarah's in the basement.
Can we wait? Yeah. Can we wait until we have a bit more to go on before we start answering those questions?
Anything could be in the basement. I mean, there could be an underground tunnel in the basement that leads to the underground military police headquarters.
Military police.
I just
you know
had
what I mean,
an idea.
Though? Yeah, I do.
It's like you could connect to all the secret secret dungeons they have in the military police headquarters that connect to Eren's basement somehow. It could be. We don't know.
Guys.
Like, there's not enough evidence to, say whether that could be true or not.
Guys, it just struck me. Yes, you have to let me go on about this. So, there's this question that came up about the mysterious miner who tried to dig under the wall. That's a little story in one of the currently disclosable information bits that comes in on the anime episodes. And so when he is trying to dig under the wall, he's digging for 20 years, and he thinks that he hits bedrock at some point, but it's just more wall. And he's like, so there's not just walls around us, they're under us too. Okay, so that means that there might be a huge, what are they called? A terrace under the land made out of wall. And under it is who knows what, more Titans. And the basement has a trap door that leads into that area. You can go under Wall Maria, Wall Rose, Wall Cena. It's all under there. They're on top of a giant fortress of wall.
We do know from Levi's side story that there are underground passageways, there are underground tunnels, there are underground caves, there are underground places that people go to travel about to try and avoid being under the scrutiny of the military police.
Yeah. And
it's primarily used by people who use 3D maneuver gear, but there was also a panel in one of the more recent chapters that showed that if they had not plugged the wall with Eren, that they would have been in a really bad situation because they had people living there underground who were about to run out of supplies to start killing each other to try and survive.
Yikes.
But these underground facilities exist, right? So that's the thing that happens.
Yep.
That is so creepy. Okay, how about another question?
Next question.
All right.
Nah, what about the one about Annie? We actually have a few about Annie.
There are so many about Annie. I'm looking at like 4 right now.
I specifically asked for Annie
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
I'm going to try that with Levi
And then-
next time. Someone asked a question about Levi. I want to talk about him.
So pick one of the questions. Any of the questions. Let's go into one of these questions. Except, well, I mean, I don't care. Pick one. I don't care.
Who else do you think could be a Titan shifter?
I like that one. It's a good one. I don't really have
Hopeful-
any concrete ideas, but...
Okay.
Mr. Kingman.
Oh, the king?
Do you think the king is a shifter?
He might be, possibly. I know that was a theory around that he might be monkey trouble if he's...
Yeah.
I mean, I know that doesn't really work. I don't really support it. That's just a theory I'm presenting.
The theory, I think, is based on the bottle. Like, having the bottle.
The bottle. Personally, I think that John might be a shifter just because I know you commented on this thread when I originally posted it, Stiller. It was the first thread I ever submitted to the subreddit. Basically, I was asking, could Jean be a shifter just because when I was rewatching the anime and rereading the manga, I just noticed that a lot of the time, RBA, Reiner, Bertholdt, and Annie, whenever they were standing around talking or just sitting at a table or something, John was with them a lot of the time. Be it when they were in Trost, be it when they were talking about what they'd go into before they graduated. He was with them. And we don't know much about his past, like the other shifters, so...
But we know about his internal conflict, and we see moments when he's alone, and we hear thoughts inside his head. I think there's way too much evidence that he's human, as opposed to slight implications that he might be with the spy shifters.
There is a lot of difference between the internal conflict that John has and the internal conflict that Reiner has.
Nice.
We know that John claims that he was from a more wealthy, more proper, upbringing in some. I don't know if he said he was from Cena or Rose, but he
said he was from Trost.
He was in a better situation than most of the cast was, right?
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
He dealt with a lot between being a soldier. Like he had a different conflict from Reiner because Reiner always was confident in what he wanted to do, what his responsibilities were. He took on his facade of being a soldier really strongly. He didn't have any questions about, I am a soldier, this is what I do, blah, 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 blah. Jean was pretty much the opposite, where he had a really hard time trying to figure out what kind of soldier he wanted to be. He didn't think he could be a leader. He had a lot of trouble putting himself on the line for humanity. He had a lot of self-doubts, and he had a lot of problems, like just accepting what he was going to be doing. And through Trost and through the end of Trost, when they go through that graduation ceremony, you just see him go through that whole line of thinking where he's battling with himself to make this decision, and it's killing him. And even after he makes his decision, he's not really happy with it. The amount of turmoil he puts himself through, I think, is why he's not a shifter. Because if he was a shifter like Reiner, I don't think he would have had as many struggles as he did.
Yeah.
Like he would have had an easier time going through with it like Reiner did.
Yeah. There's just something about, how insecure he is. I'm just like, yeah, you're so human, man. I mean, he's one of the most relatable characters in the cast. That's very obvious. I really like him.
It would be very hard to assume that with all the internal dialogue we've been given, and with everything that he's gone through, Jean and his character, that he'll just randomly be like, oh, well, forget all of that, I'm actually a fearless titan or something, and just transform. That would be a...
Or we're crediting him as a really good actor.
Yeah.
He could always be one that didn't know he was a shifter like Aaron.
Yeah, I'd actually like that
That's
idea.
true.
That'd be so... I don't know. I'd feel really sorry for him.
He just turned into a giant horse.
And that...
The horse titan.
Horse face.
Like if he turns into like a centaur titan,
Oh my god, unbeatable.
So
that'd be nuts.
Jesus.
It's possible. Like I wouldn't like that, but it's possible.
You know who I think might be a Titan? I think Mikasa could be a Titan.
I
Hmm.
really hope she's not.
She could
You
be,
don't
but
like anything positive to do with Mikasa.
I hope she falls in a ditch and we never see her again.
I hate
no!
Well, you know who
No!
already is in a ditch, Stiller?
Yeah,
you know who's
essentially.
gonna come back from that ditch and be super awesome.
That's actually a theory I got though, because I was thinking, like, obviously, and I know you pointed this out, Stiller. If they wanted to have her out of the show, she would have been dead. But they kept her there because they're gonna plan on bringing her back. And I was thinking to myself, how are they gonna bring back Annie? And then it just hit me like, so they're gonna storm and try to take over the government. The government is in Walsina. Walsina is where Annie is being kept.
Hmm.
So now this is pretty much prime time. If Annie's going to make her move, this will be the time to do it.
It's not like we know if she's conscious or not inside that crystal. We don't know if she could be planning something right now. We
I'm
don't.
still wondering how she hasn't died
Right.
inside that crystal with no way to get food or water. Or air.
The other question about that is whether she knew that she could crystallize herself like that.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like she could, but
Like if she knew that, I
speculation.
mean, she probably could have done that the whole time, but we don't know if she knew she could do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
What are the Titans? That's a really good question. What are the Titans exactly? Why do they just come out of midair like a lightning strike? Why are they really light when they fall apart? Like you can kick their bodies across the floor. And why do they have to eat humans even though they don't even have a digestive tract?
They are humans, is what the canon theory is.
Yeah, but
Is that they-
that doesn't exactly answer the question. That just explains where they
Why?
came from.
It's the theory given the information that we have. It's what
why
we know so
why
far.
they eat people is very synonymous to why zombies eat people.
Yeah. I feel like
Theory where they're driven by instinct. Like it's not because they want to, it's not because they need to. It's because that's just what they do. That's what part of their brain that still operates says that they do. That's why they do what they do.
See, there's still always the option that we're not actually seeing the Titan, as Hanji said, given that they appear out of nowhere and that they're light, that more light than they should be, not like actually, oh, it's like a balloon.
they just float away.
Yeah, just I'm gonna group of Titans on a string for a birthday party.
The
No big
balloon
deal.
titan.
It could be that it's a illusion or a trick of the mind or the eye or something, and
Oh,
I don't know.
we're moving into
Manifold?
geographia territories, and am I gonna hate that?
It doesn't.
But one of the other popular theories about why the Titans do what they do was that Titans want to mass consume in the hopes that somebody they eat is a shifter. Like if they get lucky, maybe one of the people they eat's gonna be a shifter and they can be human again. Like let's play the lottery. It's like Titan lottery. I'm gonna go play the power human ball, right?
I still don't understand how eating a shifter makes you human. I want them to explain that.
That's the whole the entire crux of that argument relies on Ymir's dialogue, saying that she turned back into a human, and that she ate Berwick.
She said
we're connecting the dots between those two.
She said she stole that power. That seemed to be the impression. I stole that power from your friend. I'm like,
the Titan power from
talking about
your people.
That implication is super strong, which is why that's the most generally accepted theory.
I tend to have the theory, and this is going like really meta here with this theory, but the entire reason that Titans were created was for war purposes. Like we've all seen the picture of like the two groups attacking each other, like as on the wall paintings.
You're talking about from the ending of
So what I think is that they were created as some sort of weapon in order to take out another army or something, and then maybe what happened was that the coordinates were created. There were multiple to control the Titans so that they could do their bidding, but then some accident happened or something, and all the coordinates, except a couple, may have died. And now what you see in the picture with all of the two groups heading towards the center where there's like the coordinate, is that they're trying to get the last group of coordinates so that they can get them into their army, control the Titans, and then defeat the other army. So
sort of a Frankenstein's monster variant.
Basically, and that's why the Titans are drawn only, like, not to animals, but only to humans, because they were created with that in mind, so that they could take out the other army.
I like it.
Essentially.
I like it. That's a good theory.
There's something I've heard that's kind of along those lines, that Titans were created to unite humanity and to stop all the warfare between nations and the poverty in one region of the world and the complete affluence in another.
Well, that went wrong.
Is that the theory that's based on Pixis's dialogue that says that before the Titans existed, there were the years of humanity fighting crusades against each other? And
I'm not quite sure.
I think that theory was created based on Pixis saying that the humanity was constantly at war with each other all the time, and that the Titans were created to unite humanity against a common threat to try and bring people together.
Oh,
yeah, that sounds like about it.
Oh, someone's crazy.
Crazy scientist, man. We like
Grisha.
We're
it was
looking
Grisha's idea.
We're looking at
But this all happened over 100 years ago.
Basic deviations of the Frankenstein story.
Okay, do you wanna answer one more question? Do you wanna wrap it up, or because
Sure.
We can do another question. Maybe
Any rant time?
We can get a couple more questions in, I think. Like, I don't know what we're doing on time, but I think we can do another couple questions.
I think we're over an hour.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Any question time?
No. I wanna tackle a question that talked about the picture in Historia's book. What is with the person handing an apple to the Titan? I like that question.
I hate to be the person to do this, but does anybody else think that monster in the book looks like a Manus Grande?
What?
I don't know what that is.
Did nobody get that reference?
Nope.
Okay, then never mind. Forget it. Somebody in the Reddit will get that question or reference.
No.
I think that it looks like not some weird thing that you said. I think it looks like I think it looks exactly or almost exactly like Ymir's Titan with the way the teeth are. I'm actually flipping to find that page right now on Manga Reader.
Like
it has a horrible monster face. Is the point?
It could tie.
I mean, a Titan.
It could tie into that Titan that was found in Ilsa's notebook, who talked about Ymir's people, and this whole thing about going on about how Ymir is a goddess. So it could be a picture that ties into a cult, a people that belonged to Ymir years ago, because she's been around for over 60 years. And they are paying tribute to her. They're giving her apples. What?
Well, we can't tell it's an apple. It's just an orb.
Oh.
Were they giving the apples to her, or was she giving the apples to them? Because she was holding that apple.
It's a girl with dark hair holding an orb. And then there's the Titan that looks like Ymir, but it looks like she's in some sort of hooded cloak and holding a lantern.
Weird.
Yeah. And I'm getting a really Egyptian vibe from this whole book. Just with the way that it's drawn, and even the text kind of looks Egyptian to me.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say it kind of parallels the picture on the wall, like the painting?
I was thinking that it
the style looks similar. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Because what I think, and this is like, again, we know pretty much absolutely nothing at this point about the book, so everything here is just complete speculation. But what I would think is that maybe the Rice family is kind of connected to, because they know a lot more about
Titans.
Well, maybe they know a lot more. Like, they're basically along with the Wallace in that they have knowledge that not all citizens are privy to. So maybe they try to align themselves with the Titans, or they have more information than we do, and they are on the approach that maybe not all Titans are bad. And because of that, they're trying to say, like, symbolism, like, hey, so we should try to befriend the Titans, and we shouldn't try to slaughter them. We should try to, like, get on their good graces.
Yeah.
That still doesn't answer the question of how the Titan got clothed.
It really doesn't. I'm not sure it really addresses the idea of Ymir and Elsa's notebook.
Yeah. But what Geographia says about the For people that don't know who we're talking about when we say Geographia, by the
Man,
way.
do I hate her.
You don't hate her, you just hate the name, right?
No, I hate her.
Oh. Well, we're talking about the girl with dark hair that is in Historia's dream, dressed like a cowboy, talking to her, wipes her memory, possibly in Aaron's memory too. But what Geographia says about the girl in the book is she is a kind girl that always thinks about the people around her, and that Historia Krista must become like her as well.
Wow.
So is that.
And the idea behind Geographia is that she mind wipes people.
We think.
And and at the end of that little dialogue between Krista and Geographia, like when Geographia is leaving the scene, Krista looks at her and says, "Who was that?" Right? That's why we think she has mind wipe powers.
Yeah.
It's because Historia had no idea who she was at the end of that scene.
Did she know who she was at the beginning? It's just like, oh, hi. I'm just going to talk to you.
Yeah, she does.
How
They
weird
look
would that be?
very close.
Just wanders up to some little girl and...
Random stranger gives her a book, wipes her nose, tells her to be like this girl.
As it says bye and walks off.
No, but that's actually a really good point, because if we're to assume that Historia knew about this Geographia beforehand and that she could... Yeah, well, if we were to assume that...
No.
I don't know. Because...
No, right here it says that she taught Historia to read.
So
Really?
That means that they had to know her for quite a while.
Yeah, but who said that?
Historia.
Yeah.
Wow, Historia, you're so good at reading already. That's because you taught me.
Aww.
So then we have to assume that not only can she mind wipe people, but she can give them... she can give them memory back, essentially.
Or she can choose which pieces of memory she wants to wipe.
Well, we know that Krista hasn't totally forgotten this event because she's dreaming about it.
Right.
So it's more like locking it away and unlocking it when she wants.
Yikes.
Huh.
Alright, so the memory.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Kind of like how Aaron's memories of...
I know how I feel about that. I hate everything about that.
I'm leaning towards your way, Stiller.
I
don't like
cannot
that.
stand the idea that we've introduced this character to the story who has this super overpowered capability where she can erase people's memories. Is no one else struck like this is the most batshit random thing to add?
No, it's like hypnotism.
Well, there's
it could be like a trigger.
Coordinate lightning. Go, Sarah.
This is what I think. It's a trigger. She's already programmed Historia. You know, Historia's already been preconditioned. So at this point, all she has to do is just snap her fingers, and she's forgotten her. You know, because it's already been pre-programmed and brainwashed into a Historia before. That's super creepy, but I would totally buy that. You know.
So you don't think it's a power? You think that it was just she brainwashed Historia to the point where she could do that on her own?
Yes.
So she just can't walk up to any random person and just be like goodbye and then just snap her fingers and now that person doesn't remember
It's not
half
random.
their life.
This woman.
Here's
is,
what happened.
You know, part of Krista's memory. We don't know if she's been with anybody else. So the fact that she could have messed up Historia's life completely is completely plausible. So.
Geographia says, "Forget about me again until the next time we meet." And then they touch foreheads. We see lightning or a spark, kind of like the transformation or coordinate lightning.
Yeah.
But what I'm taking from this is forget about me again, which implies that this has happened more than once.
Yes.
Until the next time we meet. This has been an ongoing thing.
Like I said.
So this implies not only was she conditioning her, but she might also still have those powers. It could be both. And the fact that this is a thing, even that this is a theory that she has this power, I hate this so much, I put it right next to the time travel theory of things that I hate.
Oh, God, let's not talk about that theory.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty unanimous that we all hate
those
the time
two
travel
words
theory.
are forbidden from this podcast right now. Time travel.
We can talk about how much we hate it, though, right? And this is right up there for me. This is right next to that. Like, I cannot stand this concept.
Still, it almost looks... This could be a way of introducing or reintroducing the concept that coordinates might be able to control humans. Because there is that coordinate-y snap of electricity lightning that we also see when Aaron punches the Smiling Titan. We see it across the shifters there. we also, this is a whole separate theory, we see it when Eren is commanding Mikasa to fight back and stab the guy choking him. So this could be a way of saying, hey, coordinates, they're not just Eren, and they can't just control Titans, they can also control people.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. I never made the connection that Eren might have coordinated Mikasa with the electricity. Oh my gosh!
Have you not heard that theory before?
That is a theory that's been out there.
Yeah, that's a pretty prevalent one.
That is so cool.
What I took away from Geographia was that her being able to do this, they've introduced a way to retcon whatever the hell they want in people's memories.
Right.
God, am I crazy? Is that not the worst thing ever?
It's pretty up there with the worst things ever.
Oh my god.
I kind of like it.
You like that?
No, he likes it because I hate it.
Oh.
No, that's not why, Stellar. I always have liked it.
Okay, we need to wrap up. We're getting to the end of our hour. Probably overtime now at this point.
I think we're way over it.
Yeah, we're gonna.
But
I mean, are there any other prevalent, like, super important questions we should address before we go?
I think there was one about the time travel.
No, there wasn't.
So no.
Well, we've pretty much addressed that.
The people who think about the time travel, usually all they reference, or one of the main prevalent things they reference, is the title of the first episode, to you, 2,000 years in the future, whatever. Yes.
Let's not get into this.
No. All I'm gonna say, hold on, Zach. All I'm gonna say is there can be many reasonings for that title. So, for one example, you could say maybe this is all in some sort of journal or something. Like, this is a recap of someone who reads the event, in the future. And then we'll see, like, the descendants and whatnot, which is one idea.
Us, 2,000 years in the future.
Right. Well, that'd be 29-something, which was way past us, but...
Let's just say the whole year thing is arbitrary, and that, for all we know, the 840 means 840 BC.
It's just...
It could be.
Yeah, it's just narrative use. It's just like, I want to just make this. I want to talk to the audience.
I think it's pretty.
Maybe
symbolic.
the title has significance. Maybe it doesn't.
I like to think of it as a metaphor for a time capsule. You know what I mean? It's like you put this idea, this story, this thing that happened. You put it in a time capsule. In 2,000 years, you hope the humanity, if it's still there, that sees this, can learn from this. Like we're the like we're the future people who are looking at this. And we're supposed to learn from this. That's how I look at it.
That's what I was basically saying, but yeah. So
which makes me feel very nervous about what's going to happen later. I feel like that automatically means there's going to be a bad ending, And the moral of the story is everybody dies.
Boy,
it's Attack on Titan, Sarah. It's gonna have a bad ending.
I don't know if I'm the only one here who wants a bad ending.
I want a bad ending.
I do want a bad ending.
Okay. I'm not gonna be pleased by it. Eren kills everyone. Yay, humanity saved.
Okay, I'm glad.
That's my biggest fear about this entire show is that after all of these trials and tribulations, they get into the basement. And it's this, I talk to you still, I think about this, and then there's this magic cure, like this magical we're going to flip a switch, and now everyone, all the Titans reverted back to humans. I would hate that so much. I want the ending.
That's not going to happen. I think they're going to get to the basement, and they're not going to find a single thing. It was all for naught.
That's a good theory, too.
That'd be pretty hilarious.
The thing is, the ending was originally supposed to be based off of Stephen King's The Mist, and I haven't read the book or anything. I did
give you guys the ending to that though the other day, so you know what happened.
I didn't hear that. That must have been the chat that I wasn't here for.
Okay.
But basically, from what I gather from Wikipedia, everyone dies except for a couple survivors, and basically that's how Attack on Titan was going to end. But now it's gotten so popular and so many people love Sasha and Levi and Eren and everyone that the whole ending's being changed. And I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Okay, so to end on this note, a cast on Titan, people, we're concluding that I want
Can we not conclude? I want to not conclude. Let's not conclude and take some Annie questions. Can we take some Annie questions?
We were seriously
I was pushing on it earlier, but I haven't had dinner yet and I'm starving.
Can we get some Annie questions, please? I want to
next time.
Get some Connie questions in here.
Save the Annie
can I get one?
for next time.
I just want one Annie question. Let me just get one Annie question.
If you can.
Why can't
Why
you
is
keep
Annie
her
such a
balance?
bitch? There's a question.
You want me to answer that one?
Yes. And see, since the question states that she's a bitch, you have to admit that she's a
Yes,
bitch in order for you to answer this.
No, I don't have to admit that at all.
Just-
Because
Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks for.
we can clearly tell. We can clearly tell by the way this question is phrased that this question is coming from someone who has a biased view of Annie, right? So
What
if
is a rational view?
it's clearly a biased and not properly represented, view or perspective. So if we dive into Annie's character development, we can see that she's had to give this presentation or this front of being antisocial or being distant or being sort of not likable because she does not want to get close to people. She does not want to attach. She doesn't want to hurt people. She doesn't want to hurt people's, their trust or their feelings or any of this stuff. She's actually doing the most sincere and the most kind possible thing she could be doing imaginable with the position she's in. It's like she could not have picked a better way to try and not hurt people like with this.
Yeah.
As opposed to Reiner, who is directly he's forming relationships, he's getting people to trust him, he's making bonds, all this stuff. He's devastating people when the reveal comes out that he's the Armor Titan. And people were still devastated when Annie came out as the female Titan, but at least she did it in a way that people already hated her, right?
So
it's
killed
not-
an entire church.
She killed, she killed churchgoers, she killed Patriot, she
Giant
She
killed
whipped
people.
around.
A lot of
flesh
military
balls, that were on top of her.
She whipped this
But if
guy
you
around like
really
he was
look
a yo-yo.
into her character, like if you go
Yeah.
back to the anime, if you go back to the manga and some of the differences in the manga, you can see that her character was built in a way that to the normal viewer, to the normal observer, she was built to be the bad guy. She was built to be the one who people were supposed to despise. But if you look deeper into her character and the little subtle pieces of detail that she has, you could see that she's probably the most saintly and the most,
I
the most angelic character of all of the cast.
Okay.
She was very saintly.
I would.
Yeah,
I
was
would-
spinning the people
Stiller
with the
answered
yo-yo.
We didn't have time to contest his admiration of this villain.
in public.
Okay.
We don't have time, which means that there are no arguments against it. Therefore,
There are
I'm
plenty
right.
of arguments for another
Yes.
day.
Super
It
plenty.
cannot be disputed. I am happy with the way this turned out.
Yeah. So to conclude, I really want the series to end. Well, I know it can't end happily, but it's got to end with a sense of triumph. And the other guys just want it to end badly. Shame on them.
That's
Well-
a horrible generalization. Okay,
Let me
Because
clarify.
we can have these horrible endings where everyone dies and still draw a triumphant ending out of it, right?
Yeah.
Everyone dies, but the Titans are dead.
We can draw on everyone being a martyr. We can draw on they left behind the legacy of what it means to fight, to what it means to live, to what it means to try and represent the freedom that you want. You can draw out these different themes of being human and having to, fight alongside your fellow man, be betrayed by people you thought you trusted. You can convey all these things and kill everyone, right?
Wow.
People don't have to survive to be able to get that across.
I know, but it's important to make people.
The argument basically against that is, but I like this character.
There's a thing going on that to survive is to win, especially when Eren saves Mikasa from those robbers and he tells her to fight so you can live.
And
Well,
how great
well-
will it be when we see that all of our favorite characters died, but humanity still survived?
That's the point, because everything that's been harped on, what Erwin says, what Levi says, what all of them say, it's the better for humanity. Eren is humanity's best chance at survival. They don't stress individual survival. There's a group camaraderie that everybody has, and it's not just one person. Erwin, although people think he's like cold-hearted, well, some people do at least, is that he thinks about the general oversight. When he was leading all of the Titans to Reiner and Bertold and them in the forest, he wasn't thinking about the individual people that he was going to affect, the soldiers. He was thinking about the overall goal. Okay, what is the most important thing here? Aaron, Historia. So I got to get them at all costs. So I think the overall theme that's stressed in the show is the survival of humanity, not necessarily the survival of our individual favorite characters. So for me, a great ending is going to be if a lot of people died, it wouldn't a lot of casualties because that just would stay current to the show and
It
like
would be
true to
realistic.
right. But then everyone, not everyone, but there's at least a good amount of people who survive, and maybe they don't defeat all the Titans because that's there's essentially billions of Titans if we're to believe everyone's been transformed.
Mhm.
But then there's hope that they now have a way to actively move and fight against the Titans, and that's where I want the end of the series to end off. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm a little depressed.
Darth, did you want to chime in on that?
No, I think that's about it. If everyone dies and there's still some hope, I'm about good.
It's gotta be hope.
Like to Scotty's point, I think Armin, Erwin, and Levi are the most unsung heroes of this war we're having.
Yes.
Which is why I can't wait for Levi to die.
Yeah, pretty much. Because these guys are the ones who are getting down and
Also to
dirty
make the fangirls cry.
with the planning, tactical decisions, all of the rough stuff that nobody wants to do. The people who take the blame for wasting, their tax money and wasting people's lives and all this sort of stuff. The guys who are making those decisions are the unsung heroes for when the war is won.
Oh, you're making me emotional. Okay,
and if they all died, imagine the impact it will have and the message that it will send.
Oh my gosh, tears.
Like if you take it in the right light, that is a fantastic message.
Yeah.
And I think that is the perfect note to end the first podcast on. So the other concurrent podcasts past this aren't going to be in this format. This was just the introductory podcast, so we're not going to obviously recap it every time. All we're going to do is go into the general essence of what the chapter was, recap that. Then we'll go into theories about that, and then any other Attack on Titan related thoughts and other theories that may have come up, not related to the chapter, but in that month period of time. So, yep.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening to us.
Take it
Thanks
easy,
for listening.
everybody. We'll see you guys back on the Shingeki no Kyojin subreddit.